Shalom Uvracha, friends. Shalom Ulf. How are you?
So far, so good. Thanks. Welcome to the show, Yosef.
Likewise, Baruch Hashem. Thank you. So we have a special topic today that we're going to talk about. This has been a while in the making. There've been other things that have risen. So without further ado, let's show the first slide and we'll get into the details. We want to talk today, just to give a small introduction, about why is it that the Jewish people are commanded in the Torah to give 10% of their earnings to charity, to the poor, to the temple, and so on. Machatzis shekel is another thing, the half shekel once a year. So we're going to go through different kinds of charity, different kinds of money, value that people put work into. And we're going to see how the Torah looks at these things so that we have a perspective that's more in line and in tune and in sync with the will of Hashem, and that we should understand how to manage money. Right, just before we start, I want to just make a disclaimer. It's amazing, like we spoke about it earlier, and you brought it up, that Constantine and other tyrannical governments over the years have used the tax system in order to enrich themselves, or have used their own intellect in order to manage the system, and relied on human beings, and so on. And of course, in that case, it's not Hashem's kingdom, Hashem's glory, and corruption, and all the other character traits that we know are common amongst people come into play. And before you know it, we're back in exile, enslaving each other. So God's money is a different story completely. Ulf, you want to say a few words on that before we jump into the slide?
Yes, of course, so we had, of course, now, I think it was Pasha Re'eh, where we had Deuteronomy 14, and it's commanded, for all Israel that, so I just wanted to point this out. And so we, as obvious non-Jews, started to basically, produce our own Machat shekel, specifically for payment of the temple tax, of the half shekel temple tax mentioned in Exodus 30. And so this is basically how we work now together for the last 3 years. And from my perspective, it's a very important thing, especially the tithe and offering, that the tithe and offering are paid in real money and to Jerusalem. And
100%.
yeah, so that's the starting point for us,
Okay, so Ulf, do you see this? There it is. You see the screen?
Yeah, it's slowly. You have once a while there is a lag. It's said it starts, so it's still uploading or showing. Ah, beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. So here we have this picture, which is Yaakov, Esav, Eliphaz, Lavan, Amalek, and then the 10% promise. So let's talk about this. This is our first exhibit. We're going to have a few of these, and we're going to go through a few of them to give an idea. So Yaakov, number one, he is he studies Torah most of the time. It says in the Torah, Yosef Halim, he sits in the tent, he studies a lot. And Yaakov is running away from Esav because Esav is a hunter, and Yaakov's mother is actually the one who said, Esav doesn't deserve the blessing, you deserve the blessing, you go in and get the blessing from your father. So some people say, oh, it was Yaakov's great idea to steal the blessings. No, it wasn't his idea. Yaakov was putting up it was Rivka's idea, exactly.
Yes,
And Rivka came from the house of Lavan. She knew a crook when she saw one, right? So when she sees Esav, she knows that this one doesn't deserve the blessing. Both were her children, right? And of course, we know that both parents have a say in what their children should get. Both parents have a decision making. So if the mother thought that Yaakov should get it, and the father thought that Esav should get it, so that's question. Unfortunately, some families are not together. There's a divorce. These things are issues. But in any case, it's not that Yaakov stole the blessings from Esau. If anything, Esau sold the blessing. He sold his birthright to Yaakov for a pot of beans, basically.
Yes.
So in any case, the way it played out was that Esau wanted to kill Yaakov. That was the reality. So Yaakov had to run away. Where did he run? He ran to Lavan, number 4. Now, Lavan, he has one merit. That one merit is when Eliezer, the servant of Abraham, came to Lavan, and he saw Eliezer talking to Rivka, and he sees Rivka come back to the house with gold bracelets and nose rings. He got up to go kill this guy. Said the Midrash that Lavan was so enraged that somebody's messing with his sister, he was ready to kill them. But then when he saw that it's Eliezer, the servant of Abraham, and it's not just some pimp in the Mamzer Club, yeah, it's not just some random guy. So then he calmed down and he he relaxed. But for that merit, the Torah gives him a little bit of respect. Now, the reality is that with all due respect, Lavan was the kind of guy that you have to pay to play. If you don't come with money, he doesn't want to help you. He's not the kind of love your fellow as yourself. So when Yaakov is showing up to Lavan, he brings a lot of money with him, and he brings his possessions as he's going from his house, running away from Esau. But now we get to player number 3 in the story, which is Eliphaz. He's the son of Esau. Esau sends him to go kill Yaakov. Go kill your uncle Yaakov. Go kill my brother, your uncle Yaakov. But Eliphaz knows Yaakov. Yaakov never did anything to him in his life. If anything, his father acted a mess to him. So he sees Yaakov, he meets him with his army, with his henchmen, and he says, Uncle Yaakov, I have a lot of respect for you. But my dad told me to kill you. What should I do? And you know my dad, if I don't listen to him, he will definitely kill me. So what should I do? So Yaakov says, Ani chashuv kemes, right? A poor person is like one who is dead, right? So this is typical Yaakov from studying Torah. You know a thing or two, as they say. So Eliphaz says, you know what? Okay, I'll take all your possessions. I leave you with nothing. And I go back to my father, and let's call it a day. And that's what Eliphaz does. However, Eliphaz makes his son swear, Amalek. He says here, you have to kill the children of Israel if it's the last thing you do. And you don't know Yaakov like I do. You didn't have to respect him. So now Yaakov is between Esau and Lavan. He has nothing to his name. So he knows that Lavan technically can just kill him or do something, or at least not help him. And Esau is behind him. Amalek is on the way. Eliphaz just finished round 1. So Yaakov in this moment makes a promise. Yeah, like it says here, of all that you give me, I will surely tithe to you. Right? This is the Shavua, the covenant, the promise that Yaakov Avinu makes to Hashem. And then we get to basically number 6, which is the 10% promise, right?
Yes.
Now, all of Israel today, we're also in a situation, as long as the temple is not standing and the kingdom of the King Moshiach and the temple is not in place, we're also in a situation where Israel is in danger, as we see. So in this moment, we need to give charity, and we need to continue to fulfill Yaakov's promise to Hashem. Like it says, Tzion b'mishpat tipadeh v'shaveh b'tzedakah. Zion with justice will be redeemed, and its captives with charity, or with righteousness, or with good deeds. So here we have, all the players in the game, and Ulf, what do you say about all this? Before I bring up the next slide.
First of all, it's a very nice presentation, and of course, so Exodus 4:22 says, "Israel is my firstborn son." So we are all its children, and of course, I totally agree that we are obliged to give 10%. to Hashem, to whatever he does, so good overview.
100%. So now we get into the next players of the game, as we say. So now we're going to talk about, similarly to last time when we said how to manipulate spiritual energy, right? So we had different characters in the Torah. Let me share the screen. That they used energy in different ways. They used money in different ways. And each of them had something that we can learn from. Torah milashon hara'ah. Of course, the Torah is there for us to learn from. So give it a minute. Do you there? You see it?
Yes,
Oh,
no, not yet, but it's loading.
it's loading?
Loud.
Okay. Let's see.
Now
So
I see it.
now you see it. So we have Avraham Avinu, which his concept was Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your fellow as yourself, absolute kindness, so much kindness that Yishmael also gets a lot of chesed, and Yishmael, it's almost like it kind of spills over to people that don't deserve it, or people that will use it in a bad way. It's kindness without limit, but it is important to have that attribute. Every person has to have the attribute of Avraham Avinu to be able to do kindness, hospitality, compassion. Like we know, he invited the guests and he told them, if you praise Hashem, then the food is for free. So, yeah, that's Avraham Avinu, Chesed, right? And that's why when we start the prayer, the Shmona Esrei, the first prayer is Magen Avraham, the protector of Avraham. In the merit of charity, we can, if there's dinim on a person, if there's different decrees on a person, these things are all canceled if the person has merits of charity. We even know the entire Jewish people, they all, because of the Machatit Shekel and the charity that they gave to the temple for the hundreds of years up till the destruction of the second temple, so that was their money was equal to the amount of Haman. Haman was offering that amount of money to kill all the Jews. And because the angels were laughing at him, they said, "No, you think you're some trillionaire?" The Jews gave the same amount for the temple, and that's why they have a merit over there as well. Now we look at Yaakov. We just studied about Yaakov. Yaakov made a covenant with Hashem. He said, "Hashem, you protect me from Esau, protect me from Lavan. It's actually and protect me from Amalek," which is kind of interesting. And it seems that and it's worth noting that the people targeting Yaakov were from his family, right? Lavan, Esau, his twin brother, and his uncle. So we're not talking about, Amalek. People talk about Amalek like he fell from the moon. No, this is mishpucha, we say in Hebrew, family. So unfortunately, keep your friends close and your family closer. All right, let's
Not
see.
talking about the enemies. Okay, very interesting. So go ahead.
All right, so now we get to Yosef. Yosef is called a hamashbir, which means in Hebrew to break. Like we say breakfast, you're breaking bread, right? So what does this mean, hamashbir, the breaker? Because when people came to Egypt and they wanted some food, he told them, bring your idol, your golden statue that you worship, crack off the head and throw it in the box. When they would break their idol, they would get the coupon for the food. So Yosef, destroyer of idol worship. And idol worship is anything that we find in our life that's stability. It can be, Yosef took their gold and silver in the beginning, but it's 7 years, right? So at some point, they came back for round 2. And then they gave up their animals. And then they gave up the land, right? And when the Jewish people leave Egypt, they even slaughter the last little goat. If you're in a corrupt system, sometimes the only thing you're legally allowed to have that's not yet taxed with a license plate is a little goat. You get a little bit of milk in the morning for your coffee. You have your little coffee machine, right? You have your little latte machine, and then maybe some cheese if it's left over. Maybe you can sell some to the neighbor. So even that, before they left Egypt, they needed to slaughter that. Why? Because Hashem is the only stable. Everything in this world is just temporary, right? So anything that we grab onto that is our stability, Yosef was able to look the Egyptians dead in the eye and tell them, you want to serve Hashem? You really want to connect to the true power? It's not your house. It's not your animals. It's not your gold and silver. All these things are just nonsense. And that's why it says in the Torah, "Hechiyita otanu." You gave us life. They didn't see Yosef as a dictatorship. They saw him as a leader, as a firstborn, which he was. He was the firstborn from his mother, from Rachel. They saw him as someone who was directing them. He also gave them a Brit Milah, right? So the Brit Milah also symbolizes, family purity. Even in your pants is not yours. Keep it for Hashem. Do the covenant. Take away from your own desires, and give that to Hashem. Do it in the right way. Obviously, it doesn't mean be like a priest or never have relations. It says in the Torah, be fruitful and multiply, but do it in the right way. So Yosef was the destroyer of idol worship, right, and bringer of life, and that's what he did with money. What his job was, the way he dealt with money was, let's make sure that energy goes in the direction of Hashem. And we know that there's three treasures of Yosef. One of them Korach found, and surely much of that was used for the Mishkan and for other good things in the desert. Of course, Korach eventually started a rebellion against Moshe Rabbeinu because the money got to his head. He wasn't as disciplined as Yosef. But another treasure, one of the kings found in the Tanakh, and then the third treasure of Yosef will be found for the third temple, Bezrat Hashem. And then Moshe Rabbeinu was the one who introduced the half a shekel once a year, half a shekel to be counted amongst Israel. So there you have it. You have four different players in the Torah, characters, each one using his special mazal, his special soul, the way Hashem made him, and elevating money, what we call value, currency, to serve Hashem. Ulf, your thoughts, please.
Yes, 100%. So when I took the first look at this overview when we first talked about this, so I wanted to point out that Abraham was very rich in gold and silver. So, and it's the first time the term silver, kesef, actually appears in the Torah. So it's always a very significant thing when a word appears the first time. So we have gold is directly in the Garden of Eden, in connection with the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And then, of course, you have the land of Havilah, where the gold is good, so it goes out from one of the rivers. But with Abraham, so it's the first time where silver is introduced, and it becomes synonymous with money. So when every person is reading in the Torah money, the actual word is silver. So then, of course, we have Yaakov, who gives this promise of the 10%. And now we have Joseph, who collects all the silver, basically, of the known world, so that he is able to feed the people. So he's collecting all the silver from the people, into the treasure houses of Egypt. And now, when we come out of Egypt, where this is when the children of Israel go out and say, hey, we're going home, we're going home. Can you lend us some gold and silver? So, and it says this is how they basically extorted all of the money from the Egyptians. So now, whatever Joseph collected was taken out then by Moshe and the Israelites. And so it makes, of course, perfect sense that then, besides the Machat Chetzi shekel, so the half shekel, which is a tax only, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. So everybody has to pay like this half a shekel of silver. And so then the tithings and offerings, of course, are introduced. So to make it a real mitzvah for all children of Israel. Yeah, so that's from a monetary perspective. These are also like the four giants in monetary issues, if you like, So not only from a spiritual side, but money, kesef, is an integral part of the temple service, of the service or payment, and so on. So this is what I would like to point out, so.
100%. So, and of course, we're not just talking about we're not just talking about the past. We're also talking about the present and the future. We have here what's our point? What are we talking about here? We're talking about obviously me and you are Sanehdrin advisors, and of course we're connected with Hanis, which is from templecoin.org. The coin here that you see in number 4 is a silver, pure silver, 999 fine silver, 7.77 gram coin that you can get on templecoin.org. You can send your half a shekel to the temple or to the Sanehdrin initiative, to the temple treasury, where we will use it to bring about the ultimate and complete redemption. Right now, of course, the Machatzit Shekel is Zecher LaMachatzit Shekel. It's a remembrance of the Machatzit Shekel as long as we don't have the Beis HaMikdash. The Sanehdrin is the first step in building the Beis HaMikdash. The Sanehdrin and the prophet need to crown a king. The king needs to secure the Holy Land, and then we can build the temple. This is the order that the halacha says, according to the Rambam. So right now, in the Sanehdrin initiative, Baruch Hashem, we've raised some money, and we also are very happy to get the silver coin, as the Torah says it should be. So those who want to give a temple coin and be counted amongst Israel, of course they can do so. And of course, in addition to the Machatzit Shekel to be counted amongst Israel, which we learn from Moshe Rabbeinu, the Hashem says, "Bachanunina bazais." Check me with this. You want to know that I'm a true God and that I bless you? Give aser bishvil shetitasher. Give 10% so that you should become rich. This is the only mitzvah that Hashem says you don't just come in with faith and you just do it. Give 10% and you will be rich. But it's important to give 10% to the right places. And we'll talk about this for a second. Where do we give charity to? I'm not here, obviously I'm biased. Of course I'd be happy if everyone gives it to the Sanehdrin initiative, but that's not the point. The point is, what does the halacha say? The halacha says, first you need to give charity to your family, even if it's your ex-wife or your children that don't talk to you. First of all, you need to make sure that they're okay. If you know that they're in trouble, then you should, like they don't have what to eat or they don't have basic needs, you should reach out and help them, even if you hate them, which is interesting. But that's what the halacha says. That first of all is for your immediate family, then for the people in your community, if you have friends that you know that are struggling, and so on. And then you can help these kinds of big organizations like ours, greater initiatives, Torah study in your area, charities in your area, food kitchens. Now this 10% is from those who have money, but in general, even people that don't have a lot of money, you could always go and donate some of your time. You can always go and support local charitable organizations. And that's also, of course, a good thing to do to bring more blessing and more merits and to purify your soul. It says that whoever gives charity, whoever does good deeds, Naasim mocho velibo zakim elef pamim kacha. His mind and his heart become purified 1,000 times over. So definitely, if people have health problems, they should definitely give a lot of charity. So here we have the 5 steps, right?
Okay, can I
Number
just
1.
jump in there
Yeah.
a bit?
Go ahead.
So, yeah, because of course there is people are used to pay tithings, because we talked this in one of our podcasts or shows. So since basically the temple was destroyed, so the Romans ordered the Jews to pay the fiscus judaicus, basically that the temple tax is going into the Jupiter temple.
Mm-hmm.
And the Christians back in the day, they were not regarded as a legal religion. They were of the empire. They were regarded as a superstition, as an illegal superstition. And one of the biggest issues was that Constantine then changed this illegal superstition into the legal religion of the empire, and now ordered to pay the 10% which was used to be for only for those people who had, were blessed by Hashem. So now everybody is obliged to pay 10% into the church, and this is up to this day. And so the church, they don't make a difference. So there are like ministries in America, like televangelists, like Kenneth Copeland or so. They squeeze out under this issue where they say, okay, listen, when you pay now, even if you don't have the money, but when you pay now, so you get healthy, they make like all kind of promises. And I'm really disgusted by this. This was the first time when I saw what happened actually with fundraising in America. I was shocked. Yeah, and so
Right.
we
So
really should.
Ulf, I want to
We
point
really
out. I want to point out someone who doesn't have money or he's poor, and the
yes,
halachic definition of this means that he doesn't have a half a year ahead for all his needs, especially someone who's in debt and he's in trouble. So not only does he not have to give the 10% because he has to pay his debts or whatever. He should be on the receiving end, and just like it's a mitzvah to give when you have, it's also a mitzvah to take when you don't have. It's two sides of the coin, of the same coin. It's not about our ego, and of course everybody likes to be on the giving end. Nobody likes to be the one taking, but sometimes Hashem has a humility for us to go through. To keep humble before Him. Sometimes we need to be on the receiving end, so we need to. And to ask poor people to give charity for mega churches and for private jets is, of course, against the Torah. It is a racketeering. It's part of the Roman dysfunctional continuation into Christianity, the Trinity, and other things.
yes, yeah. Yeah, but this is, I think it's very good that you point this out, that it's real, and it says specifically, so when Hashem gave you success, so when you were blessed, when you had received a special blessing, so then you should give the 10%,
100%. Right. So here we have a few. So we did this one. Now let me see if we covered. No, we have a few more. 1 second. 1 second. No, this one's already. Okay, so here's another example, right? So this is a little bit more clean. But myself and you, Ulf, we are, as we said earlier, and also Hannes, we are all Sanehdrin Initiative advisors. And on eminal.org, we have the details about Sanehdrin Initiative and the things that we're doing. Baruch Hashem, we have over 38 judges and advisors. And on templecoin.org is Hannes. And he's also, kind of a separate organization, a separate operation, but connected. Baruch Hashem, there's many people who sign up and use templecoin.org to give machatzit shekel every year to be counted amongst Israel. We're also now before Rosh Hashanah, so it's also a good time, and so on. So the idea is, step one is bring real value, right? This is why do I say this? Because for a Jewish person, once we leave Egypt, avadayhem veloy avodim la'avodim, we are slaves to Hashem, and we are not slaves to other slaves. So whereas the government tells you, oh, you know why you should be involved in the economy? They tell you you should be involved in the economy for selfish reasons. If you go into the economy for selfish reasons, it's a trap, because that's just a continuation of your ego, and it's an expression of your ego. Whereas Hashem says, you are my servants and not slaves of slaves. We know that in essence, Hashem freed us when we left Egypt. Now, there are many countries that have, for the last 2,000 years, have targeted Israel, have tried to oppress Israel. But you see that nobody could really enslave Israel like Pharaoh. Once Hashem freed us from Egypt, we are truly free, and that's why we always, like a slippery fish, we always somehow, Hashem keeps us on the move and out of the grip of any of the nations, even if they get permission briefly to punish us for different sins. But enslavement, we are slaves. We are not. Obviously, mankind has a special way of self-destructing and keeping terrible things going for much longer than they need to. Of course, by accepting Hashem's kingdom, we redeem ourselves from our own enslavement of each other. But the point here is there's three things that are truly valuable, which is Torah, prayer, and charity. Those are the three things. And if your business is somehow connected to those things, or somehow connected to the 613 laws, then it's good. If it's something that you can have a similarity, even if you work in a pizza shop. So then Abraham Avinu helped feed the poor, as long as it's a kosher pizza shop, hopefully, if you can get. But the point is that if you try to align yourself with the values of the Torah, and by doing so, you're feeding people, or you're teaching people, or you're helping people, prayer is about truth. Prayer is about even going to the community council to speak about grievances of your local community, to bring it up with the mayor, to sit down with the politicians in your area to see how you can help the community. This is bringing real value. So any of those things, eventually people will appreciate what you're doing, and then you will get, and you can obviously monetize that in a natural way according to Torah, and then you make some money, right? Then like we said, yagata umatzat ta'amin. If you try and then you succeed, you should believe it, right? If it's too good to be true, it's not true. So don't look for the shortcut. Be ready to work hard, like we spoke about before, like a kosher animal who chews his cud. He's breaking down the fiber. He has an extra stomach. He's ready to go through the process, and eventually to get the reward. Honest work is better. Let's say minimum wage, but for honest work is better than a big heist of a bank. $1 million. That's why the Pirkei Avos says, don't desire the tables of kings, because your table is greater than their table, and your crown is greater than their crown. What's my crown? My kippah? What's my crown? But my crown is greater than theirs, because their crown is corruption. Their crown is racketeering. Their crown is shame. And then, once we have honest money that we acquired according to Torah, then we can calculate the profit 10%. Then we can give that to charity, and like we said, the needy, friends, family, community, the Kohanim, the Leviim, and then in that way we are part of the Geula in real time. Because the Sanehdrin initiative is something right now, 2026. It's something that's happening right now. The Zionist government is very busy protecting the Jewish body, and the Sanehdrin initiative and the other Orthodox communities in Israel and the Jewish Torah scholars are protecting the Jewish soul and moving forward, like the Rebbe told us, to prepare for Mashiach. Right. One last thing here.
I would like to point out,
yeah,
Yossi,
go ahead.
Yeah, I really would like to point out that this whole tithing, I mean, for me, it became so the obvious. It says, okay, exchange your tithe into silver. So there is, I think, a very big difference, if you just, hand out paper slips, like fiat money, basically debt, you hand out debt, or you really exchange these paper money make your debt into real money, into silver, and that silver will never be destroyed. It's eternal. It's an elementary metal with very sophisticated benefits and so on.
Chemistry,
Exactly. So, it has some cool features, silver, and it doesn't go away. So meaning when you make bank transfers or you swipe a credit card, you have always a little percentage going off the amount. But once you exchange your debt into silver, well, an ounce always remains an ounce. 100 gram always remains 100 gram. Yeah. So this is why I think it's very important to understand that part of the whole tithing issue is exchange your tithe into silver. That's the first step,
Right.
Um,
But Ulf, I wanna just touch here on this little. I found it. So Amalek, the grandson of
yeah,
Esau,
Yossi, I
sworn to
really
kill
have,
Yaakov.
I have
Yeah,
to.
yeah. We need to wrap it up. Yes.
Yeah, I have
Okay. So this.
in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, I have this. Perhaps we can stop this for a second. Cut this later out and meet in 10 minutes or 15 minutes again and finish this because I have to go now to this online notary in 4 minutes. Have to sign my paper and then I'm back.
No, just Ulf. 30 seconds, and then we close it. It's fine. Okay.
All right.
So the last thing I'm saying, last thing, Amalek was sworn. It says, "Let my soul die the death, and the death of Yaakov my brother." Right. So this is Amalek. Some goyim, they ask me, some of the people in the nations, they say, "Well, why do you guys have to kill Amalek? Who is Amalek? You guys want to kill all the non-Jews?" No, we don't want to kill all the non-Jews. This one here, like the jihadists, that they say that we love death more than we love life. They didn't come up with this nonsense on their own. This is in the Torah. This is the kind of material that Amalek is made of. And this is the degeneracy that we need to eradicate. Other than that, all the 70 nations have a place in the temple. So hopefully we will elevate the world and not fall into darkness. And with that, Ulf, if you want to say one last word, and then we'll call it a day, and then we'll edit that out. Yeah.
Um, I think it's the tithing. It's a very, very important issue. Everybody should read Malachi, where it says, so that you can prove God. You can test him. You can test him that if you bring your tithe into the storehouse, well, then he will pour out the blessing. He will open the windows of heaven and pours out the blessing. So and everybody can test him. So that's we want to do it practically. We want to help people. I have here like in a second other video. So this is basically here, our collection of silver coins and so on and so on. So, and since we are doing this, I think it really became a blessing. I mean, you can see people when they hold this thing in the hand, it's something physical. And I think it's very good that we talked about this, because I want to move, especially as we talked before, Christians to pay the tithing in the right way. So that's my
It's
point.
beautiful. So you have there the raw silver on the far left. Am I correct?
Yes, yes. So this is raw silver. This is poured. This is here. I just scraped from 800, from old forks and knives. So this is a medallion from 1948 for the for the creation of Israel. 100 gram of silver, and then we have here our. So this is how they come in 30 pieces tubes. Already we have various editions. You will find them all, of course, on templecoin.org. And of course, also we have here the gold editions. So
Beautiful.
we made over the last years. Oops. So, yeah. Yossi, thank you so much. I really have to go and see you soon.
All the best. Thank you so much.